Hey, this is Dion from Boujuke Productions. Today I'm going to be doing a review of all of the bowling balls that I own. It's something we call in the industry your bowling ball arsenal. And basically it's all the balls that you own or all the balls that you use for tournaments, leagues, things like that. And I just wanted to show you guys what I use and what I have been using and then what I've thrown away. So I'm going to go through not a full in-depth of a full review like my urethane ball, but maybe a small summary of each ball and what I've been using for those balls. All right, let's go. So I am going to go in order. So from back when I first started bowling, the very first bowling ball that I got was this ball, the Tropical Storm. As someone who started out back in 2017, I was looking for a bowling ball that could accommodate my learning curve on trying to figure out how to hook a bowling ball. So what I was recommended was an entry-level reactive resin. So when I first got my bowling ball, I chose, the one that's basically the cheapest, but this one had a really cool color that I liked, as well as this weird blueberry-ish island breeze kind of like smell to it. So when you first got the bowling ball, it smelled like a freaking air freshener. It was really good, like it didn't smell bad ever. So that's, I guess, a good strength to it, but it also smelled like it all the way through, and I think I can still smell that tropical breeze smell to this day on that bowling ball. So this was my first bowling ball, as I said, that I got back in 2017 when I first started my very first ball. Now, the issue about this ball that I had was unfortunate. To start, I had all of these, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a lot of these bruises here from dropping it. But the major issue was the thumb holes here. Or not thumb holes, the finger holes. So the finger holes were basically cracking. At first it had a crack down right here in the middle. And then all of a sudden it just cracked, over time. Just all around it. So initially I thought, oh, maybe it was just like, it was a small crack. It happens. But when it cracked like that, it just got worse and worse, and that was one of the major reasons why I had to get a new main bowling ball. I still love this reactive resin and its art to create, and I've bowled some really high games with this ball. This level 1 kind of entry level ball, it was only about $60, I believe, for the bowling ball. But this was my first one, and I loved it. And you can never get it again because I think they discontinued the ball. But yeah, that's my first one. Let's get to my second ball. Alright, the second ball that I got was kind of in the same recommendation as if you get an entry bowling ball, you might as well get a spare ball. And so I just got the cheapest spare ball that I could find as well. This one, which is an Ebonite Maxim. You'll see that I only use this ball for if that reactive resin hooked a little too much, and also for my spares. But in doing so, I wanted to make this ball as cheap as possible, so when I bought it, it was only like $40, and the drilling for it, instead of being $60 like everyone else, was, I believe, $20 to $30. There's two types of drillings you can get for a bowling ball. There's the conventional way, and then the I don't know, fingertip way, I guess. I don't actually know what it's called. Conventional, this is a conventional basically. It's drilled without any fingertips down the holes, and it's meant for normal play. And then the fingertips is these little finger tips. They're nice and protective for your fingers, but they cost a little more. So that was my spare ball. Those two were my main ones basically that I used all throughout 2017 and 2018. And then I just wanted to build my arsenal from there. So one of the probably biggest mistakes that I had, but also something that I thought would be beneficial was to get a urethane ball. And I saw one that was on sale, so I ended up getting the Fanatic BTU. It's a Brunswick pearl urethane bowling ball. Because I thought urethane was going to be not hooking enough, I wanted something that can allow me to play much further down the lane and to hook a lot more. But in the actuality, urethane is not supposed to do that for you. It's supposed to go much straighter for you and hold the lane as if you wanted to play where your reactive resin would be playing instead of having to move left or right. So I ended up getting the Fanatic BTU, and I don't have any footage for you to see how this bowling ball goes because I never really bowled with it. I had too many issues with it overhooking, and whenever I threw it out to the outside in the dry, it would never come back. It just seems like it was like an opposite bowling ball. And I think the main reason for this issue was how it was laid out. It was the pin, which is this guy right here, is much further left than I wanted it to be. Whereas you'll notice over there, the pin is much closer to where the pin, this little dot here, is closer to where my finger hole is. So I believe that when it was drilled as if I was a right-hander, but I'm not, I'm a left-hander. So this ball just would not work for me. The last ball that I have in my room that I do not use anymore is the DV8 Freak Show Flip. Now this one is much heavier than my other bowling balls. It's a 15-pound ball where I throw a 14, 14, and a 13 right there as my past bowling balls. The DV8 Freak Show Flip was a really cool bowling ball that I got. That also I got it on sale. It hooked a lot, but it didn't hook uncontrollably like this ball. You can control this ball, but it hooked a little too much. So I got this bowling ball for mostly tournament play because a lot of tournaments have longer patterns depending on the pattern you play on. So I wanted a ball that could hook much more early and then have a stronger finish. So that's why I got this ball. The issue is that when I found out tournaments here in Washington, a lot of them just use their house patterns or really light short patterns. This ball doesn't do anything for that. But one time when my bowling alley had a issue with their oil machine, it spewed like double the amount of oil onto the lanes. This ball was great. I could play outside with it and it'll just come back and hook into the pocket. So this layout, I moved the pin slightly to the right because I wanted to get it closer towards my middle finger without it going over. And still, these are all pin-ups. So this one also had an issue with my thumb hole where my fingers didn't go all the way in. So that's one of the issues about the drilling. It wasn't as, in terms of its quality, I couldn't get my whole hand into the ball as I wanted it to. And because it was heavier, and I'm not the strongest kind of guy, it was definitely a harder bowling ball to throw. But other than that, these are the 4 bowling balls in my room. And let's go see the other bowling balls that I have that I actually use as my main balls. So when the 2020 pandemic hit, I actually bought a ball right before it in March, but was never able to drill it until much later, and it was this Motive Venom Shock. The Motive Venom Shock here is much stronger than my reactive ball, and I was going to make this my main ball. I really liked how the motion of this ball was. In 2020, they announced that a new USB-C rule is if you have a thumb hole, you have to use that thumb hole for every shot. Because I don't really use my thumb, I'm a hybrid two-hander / one-handed. I only use 2 fingers to throw my ball. So all of my balls in my bag right now have only 2 fingertip drills. And each ball here is going to be 14 pounds that I had. The next ball that I got was a twofer ball. It was the deviate frequency as well as a deviate green spare ball that I don't actually know the name of. I just know it says tonight we bowl, and in the dark, one of those night bowlings, it does glow in the dark quite a bit, but it's just a spare ball. I use it sometimes also when the lane is a little too light, but there's no reason for it now because I got my urethane. But yeah, the deviate frequency, I'll let my past Daniel to explain and see how the throws throw. Alright, it's my deviate. It is a deviate frequency. The deviate frequency has a higher RG than my Motive Venom Shock. This one kind of replaces that red Freak Show Flip, where it's a great ball for heavier oil. And there are moments where you'll see it, but all of the shots that I had made in terms of filming were on oil that was still too light for it, so it always came in high or it crossed over and through like a New Jersey. And of course the U-motion, I'm not going to go into the U-motion that much since I did do a full review for it, but yep, it's the U-motion, it's urethane. It's going to be something that I use as a change up, something that's lighter that I can use down the lanes as I play multiple games on the same pattern or same oil, or when it breaks down, something like that. And you can double check and see all of the other videos that I've posted and see these balls in action. Alright, that's all I have here. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Check me out, subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you guys next week.